You ever wonder what is the value of my work injury? If you have, join me and I'll provide you that valuable information. Hi, I'm Sam Gaylord, managing partner at Gaylord Popp, disability litigator in the state of New Jersey, representing injured workers in the areas of workers' compensation, Social Security disability, and disability pension appeals. And if you've ever wanted to know how this thing called workers' comp works in New Jersey, then I'm here to give you sort of the pull back the curtains view on how it all plays out. When somebody gets hurt while in the course of their employment, by law, they're entitled to receive three very important benefits. They're entitled to receive medical treatment. The workers' comp insurance company provides for that. They're also entitled to receive temporary disability, or what's called workers' compensation. And then they're entitled to receive an award for their injury. And what I thought I would do today is give you a nice explanation in terms of how that actually gets calculated and figured and the values of those particular injuries. One of the things that New Jersey workers' compensation does not provide are things like pain, suffering, lost wages. Those are things that are not included as part of your particular injury. So let's talk about the things that are included. What's included in an injury is, first of all, the injury itself. What's the body part? What was the injury? Was there surgery? Was there injections? Was there an MRI? Different kinds of medical treatment to determine what the eventual result is going to be. Also, how did that particular injury affect someone's ability to work? How long were they out of work? Also, what kind of effect has that injury had on things that are outside of work? That is, social activities, different things that you used to do. I used to bowl, now I can't. I used to fish, now I can't. Things of that nature have a role in eventually calculating the value of a workers' compensation case. So, once you've completed your medical care, what should then happen is all the medical records are gathered. The petitioner's attorney, like myself, would then have you evaluated by a doctor who will write a report and indicate what they believe their percentage of disability to be. The insurance company is going to do the exact same thing. They're going to send you to one of their doctors who will write a report. Now, typically, the doctors that we have people evaluate, they have their percentage of disability up here, the workers' comp insurance company down here. And that's sort of typical. And there's also usually a wide gap between those two numbers, but that's okay. We'll get to that in a little bit. So, how do we go about calculating this thing called workers' compensation? Well, let me show you. I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to pull up a workers' compensation chart. So that is what we are looking at. This is the schedule of disabilities for the year of 2017. So the first thing that you do is you go actually to the bottom of this particular chart, and we look at down here some very important things. First, the maximum. Now, what that means is that if you make $2,000 a week, New Jersey workers' compensation pays 70% of your gross weekly wage if you're out of work. It's also the maximum dollar per week that you can get when you get hurt and you receive your award. However, if in the year of 2017 you're making $2,000 a week, the maximum is $896. As a result, that is the most that New Jersey workers' comp would have to pay you in the year of 2017. The next number is the minimum. Now, what that means is if you were only making $200 a week, but you had to be out of work, then the workers' compensation or the temporary disability benefit is going to be the minimum. That is the $239 per week. However, when it comes time for the award, if your weekly wage is only $200 a week, then the most per week that workers' comp would have to pay you is 70% of that, or $140. And I'll show you that in a minute. So those are the maximum and the minimums. Now, the next thing that you do is you go to the top of the chart and you make sure that you're in the right year. So we're using 2017. So we are, in fact, in the right year. The next thing that you can see are body parts. And this is how New Jersey workers' comp will divide the particular body up to calculate what the value of the case is going to be. So in this example, as you can see, it's hand, arm, thumb, fingers, right? Leg, foot, toes, eye, ear, and then what's called partial total. So what happens is in New Jersey is that anything from below the elbow down is considered a hand. So if you broke this bone here, that would actually be a hand case. From the elbow to below the shoulder is considered an arm, and the shoulder is a different part, which falls into that category of partial total. Part of the total person, not a particular piece. Okay, that's how I've always remembered it. And so, what is included in that partial total are things like shoulder, neck, lower back, head, any kind of psychiatric disability, things of that nature. They fall into that category. So as you can see, we have the body parts along the top. We have percentages of disability that go down the side. So 1, 2, 3, all the way down to 100. So what then happens is, let's get an example. Say I'm at work and I break my hand. Well, what that means is I'm going to receive medical treatment. They're going to send me for an x-ray, probably have the cast. Then I'll do some physical therapy. And at the end of that, I will receive an award for my injury. Now, my attorney is going to send me to a doctor who will more than write a report that says that my disability is somewhere in the neighborhood of 40%. The insurance company's attorney, they're going to send me to a doctor. Their doctor is going to say my disability is somewhere around 5%. And so the case will then move to court, be negotiated, and then there will be a resolution. More than likely, a fractured hand is going to be somewhere between 15 and 20% of disability to the hand, barring no unique set of circumstances. So, what does that mean? Well, let me show you. Let's say our case settles for exactly 17.5%. So, we'll split the sticks between 15 and 20. Okay. So 17.5% of the hand in the year of 2017 means that the injured worker is going to receive an award of $10,247.13. That's the gross award. And from that, there would be a deduction for your share of the attorney's fees and costs. Typically, the attorney's fee the attorney's fee overall is 20%. Typically, the most that would come out of the petitioner's share or the injured worker's share is 8%. The other 12% is paid by the insurance company. There's also going to be the expense of your having to go and seen the doctor for purposes of writing the report to settle the case. That particular cost is $300 to you, $300 to the insurance company. So those are usually the two deductions. But in our example here, the 17.5% is $10,247.13. Now, there's a top number there, which is 42.875. So if what you do is take 42.875 and you divide that into the $10,000 number, you're going to get $239 per week. Now, I know that not because I'm great at math and I can somehow do that in my head. I know that because until you hit 90 weeks, the dollars get divided by the weeks and it equals what the minimum was, which was $239, which is what we talked about a little bit ago. So that's how I know it, not because I can do math like that in my head. But the reality is that 42.875, that represents what are called weeks of disability. Now, why is that important? That's important because if your case, hypothetically, let's say you finished medical treatment on July 1st of 2019, and your attorney settled your case in December of 2019. What that means is that there is a 6-month gap between when workers' comp last paid you, let's say for being out of work, and when your case settles. So What that means is only 6 months have come and gone, or only 26 weeks. But the award is for 42 weeks. So what happens is the insurance company would pay you that amount, which is accrued in a lump sum, and then you would receive payments until the entire award is paid out. Now, typically with a case like this, by the time you go to court to settle, and by the time you actually get the award after going to court, the entire award has accrued, in which case you would receive one lump sum check. However, in the set of circumstances, let's say of 17 and let's say it was a shoulder case, and now we're talking about the same 17.5%, but now it's a shoulder. All right, the value of that is about 26,000, and it's 105 weeks of payments. So what that typically means is that your case is going to, or the settlement is going to provide you an upfront amount of money, and then you're going to receive either biweekly or monthly payments until the entire award is paid out to you. Now, the advantage there is that you have 2 years from the date that you receive the final payment in which you can reopen your case. What does that mean? What that basically means is it's like you get to hit the redo button in an old video game. You get to start over. And what that means is that the workers' comp insurance company is responsible to provide additional medical treatment if you need it. Again, if you had to be out of work, they would pay you. And then there would be an increase in the award that you'd be eligible to receive. That increase in disability would represent an increase in the percentage. So if the first time your case settles, it's for 17.5%, and you reopen your case and you get additional treatment and there's an increase in your disability, it may now be 25%. But the insurance company gets a credit, a dollar credit, for the dollars that they had previously paid, or the 17.5%. So again, giving you the ability to reopen the case again, and so on and so on. And that continues until such time as you either miss the ability to reopen the case, which is 2 years from the date that you get your last check, or the insurance company makes an offer to close out your case. In terms of how to calculate, though, the value of a workers' compensation case, this is it. This is sort of the pull back the curtain and sort of expose the truth of it all. New Jersey workers' compensation is actually somewhat formulaic. And given most straightforward injuries, there's a particular range of numbers that we deal with in terms of a carpal tunnel case, a broken arm case, a shoulder surgery. Each of these typically have a range in terms of the percentages of disability. What you should understand is that when we go to workers' compensation court, we never actually discuss the matter in terms of dollars and cents. I don't go and negotiate for 5,000 or 10,000. It's always done in terms of percentages of disability. However, the greater the percentage, the greater the dollar, which of course is what we know going in. But our conversations are always in terms of percentages of disability, which are again grabbed from what our doctor has to say, what the treating doctors had to say, and of course, how our clients are doing both at work or socially outside of work. And so basically, that is how a New Jersey workers' compensation claim is figured. Now, if you found this information helpful, I'd ask that you contact us at www.gaylordpopp.com, or you can email me directly at sgaylord@gaylordpopp.com, or you can call the office at 609-771-8611. I hope you found this useful, and if you enjoyed this information, please share it with someone else. I look forward to speaking to you soon. Thanks.